What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to talk about some Destiny 2 stuff inside of the beta, including gear infusion, which is returning for Destiny 2, information on how to unlock the full subclass paths in the full game. As well as this, we've got new ship shaders and a secret event which takes place on Nessus. So first up, I want to talk about weapon mods and upgrades. When you look at a weapon in Destiny 2, it has an intrinsic perk, which you can see right here. For this particular auto rifle, we have adaptive frame, a well-rounded grip, which is reliable and sturdy, and then you have the kind of locked weapon roll right here. Down below though, you have a weapon mod section, and there's a few different things that you can do on different pieces of gear. Interestingly though, Infusion is returning for Destiny 2. So Legendary Infusion, select a piece of legendary gear to consume. That item will be used to infuse another item with power. So essentially, if you have a higher level piece of gear, you can infuse it into something which is a lower level and bring it up. We don't know if it'll be 1-for-1 infusion like we saw eventually in Destiny, or whether it will be kind of partial level infusion, but it is going to be a returning thing for Destiny 2, which is pretty interesting. Also in the mod slot, we have shaders for weapons. This one is just a default shader. We don't know how we'll unlock other shaders, but if you read the description for weapon mods, it says attach a mod to a weapon to improve or add to its perks. Doing so consumes the mod. On the energy weapons, you can see a damage mod for a particular elemental damage type. So it says equip this to a weapon to charge its rounds with void energy. Presumably we'll be able to get different elemental mods, you know, to apply them to a weapon, so you can make a hand cannon that you really like into a solar hand cannon, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Some of the armor pieces actually display an armor mod, which is just an empty socket right here, so there's actually no modification, but this also confirms that you will be able to add modifications to perks and stuff for armor pieces. We also have mods confirmed for both ships and sparrows. So if you look at this ship right here, we actually have a shader. Equip this shader to change the color of your gear, which is the Nebula Rose. Interestingly, it says change the color of your gear, so perhaps these shaders will actually be able to be applied to any piece of gear, which would be pretty cool. But if we look at the vehicle mod section, it says attach a mod to a sparrow or jump ship to improve or add to its perks. Doing so consumes the mod, which is pretty interesting. I don't know whether we're going to actually see some kind of bonuses on ships perhaps. Of course, sparrows typically do have some kind of bonuses or perks that you can upgrade or change a little bit. Moving on, when you look at the subclasses, there is a section down here, a path which is actually locked and requires upgrade points to unlock. In the full game, presumably we'll also be unlocking these other abilities in a similar fashion, and the item you require is simply called an upgrade point, and it looks a little bit like an exotic shard right there, but we now know that these will at least in part be acquired by completing adventures. So in one of the IGN teaser trailers recently, we see an adventure taking place on Nessus called Deep Conversation, and on the side of the screen you can see rewards, and it's the same icon for the upgrade point. So it looks like we'll have to do various parts of the kind of game, the campaign and the side quests to unlock these subclass abilities. So this is going to be pretty awesome. Finally, I'm sure you guys have heard about the Lost Sector, which has been found on Nessus. I did make a video about how you can actually get inside of the Lost Sector, which I'll link in the description. But if you head into the Inverted Spire Strike and then up to the area where you need to scan the conflux right at the beginning, there is actually a Vex plate on the ground on the left-hand side of this area, and you can jump inside of it and it will kind of light up, which is pretty interesting. I did manage to get my 2 teammates to jump in with me as well. I was actually playing solo. We stood in there for a second, but we didn't notice anything in particular happen. Interestingly though, when you glitch inside of the nearby Lost Sector, there is a plate which is essentially identical to this, so perhaps they're linked to each other, or perhaps this one will unlock something different later on. If you hang around the very beginning of the Nessus Strike, there will be a kind of interesting event start to occur. So after we'd actually gone and stood on the plate, I went back towards the beginning of the strike, and there are a bunch of portals which appear which you can kind of jump through and travel around in a circle. Immediately next to the first portal, you do see the Lost Sector icon, and the Lost Sector building is actually up on the hill nearby, so perhaps somehow in the final version of the game you'll have to kind of go through these portals at a certain rate. Every time you travel to one side of the map through the portal, a different bunch of enemies spawn. So there are some new Vex hobgoblins and also a Minotaur, and these have kind of new names on them. Nobody quite knows what this is yet or how it works, but eventually the portals do just start to disappear very slowly, but they kind of disappear in the order that they actually appear initially, which is interesting. So even if none of this does anything inside of the beta, it looks like we have somewhere to go and look for secrets when the game launches. Also worth noting is if you head to the very left hand side when you go into the inverted spire all the way up to the top of the hill, you can kind of see in this footage I'm looking back to where you spawn in. Using the Warlock Dawnblade, you can actually pop your super, jump off the map right here and head around to the left and get on top of this kind of big set of rocks. And on the other side of it is an area which is actually locked away. There's some pretty cool stuff here, and when you head towards the end of the area, you do see what look like the kind of crashed ships believed to be linked to Exodus Black. So it looks like this will be another area in the full version of the game, but it isn't actually completely loaded in while you're in the Strike version. Either way, I thought I'd share that with you guys. Pretty cool. I'm sure you'll be able to get around there using another class. Someone will work it out before too long. So there we go, guys, just a bunch of stuff. Infusion, unlocking subclass paths, ship and vehicle mods, as well as shaders, and a secret that we have yet to fully understand on Nessus. So I hope you have enjoyed the video, guys. If you have, a like is very much appreciated below. If you want to save 10% on Control Freak products, including the new Destiny 2 edition thumbsticks, then follow the link in the description and use code Houndish at checkout. For now though, I appreciate you guys watching. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit subscribe to see more Destiny 2 content. But for now, have an awesome day.